Golden State Warriors blow an NBA Cup game to the Denver Nuggets, 119 to 115. And in my eyes, the Golden State Warriors just got a triple dose. Yes, a triple dose of bad news. They lose their 5th straight game. It's not going to matter in the NBA Cup, but it matters overall for this team's morale. As they do not look like the team that started this season 12-3, atop the Western Conference, and look like one of the dark horse contenders to win an NBA championship. They don't look like that anymore, and it's unfortunate that they have some bad news keeps coming their way as they now fall to 12-8 on the NBA season. Not a good night from Golden State, but that's not where we're going to start tonight, because the real catalyst and the first dose of bad news is that Draymond Green suffered an injury to his left calf that kept him out of tonight's matchup. And this stinks, right? Because Draymond Green is as important as any player to this Golden State Warriors roster. Aside from Steph Curry, he's definitely number 2. I'd argue he's even a 1B in a lot of scenarios because, he's imperative. He's the initiator on offense. He's the best on-ball defender, and he's missing from this lineup tonight against one of the NBA's best, Nikola Jokic. We'll get to his stat line and what I think is the other bad news in just a second. But Draymond Green, according to Anthony Slater, he said, Draymond Green's officially out tonight in Denver. Left calf tightness, his first missed game this season. And the day before, we knew that he'd be doubtful, right? Steve Kerr said that Draymond Green would be doubtful for this matchup. The Warriors and Steve Kerr, he said that they need to be careful about this, that they need to manage this calf issue and not rush him back out to the court. And that's unfortunate, right? Because they need Draymond. They need Draymond so bad. And a game like this where you're going against one of the NBA's best players, one of the NBA's best frontcourt players, I'd argue he's the best player in the league, Nikola Jokic. You need a guy like Draymond. And it's bad news because Draymond came out and said that he's a little bit scared about this injury. He thinks that there's a chance that he can miss more time, or there's a good chance that he also might re-aggravate it. He said he felt this same injury in 2022 where his play really dropped off a cliff. And, I don't want him to be out there if he's not going to be 100%. But at the same time, Golden State needs him. They need him to be defending down low. They need him to play that big position that he can play, and that small ball 5, not only on the defensive end, but also the offensive end, to have Golden State run 5-out offense. Because you know who ran a 5-out offense tonight? Denver. Denver ran 5-out offense tonight. And guess what? Their shots weren't necessarily falling, but they were always a threat from outside. And when the shots weren't falling for them, shots also weren't falling for Golden State from outside. And what did Denver do? They adjusted, and they brought the bully into the paint. And Nikola Jokic. This is the second dose of bad news for Golden State, because beyond Draymond Green, there isn't any depth in this Golden State Warriors front court defensively. Kevon Looney fouled out. TJD couldn't guard him if Nikola Jokic never even moved a step. He had his way with the Golden State Warriors tonight. I expected this to happen with Draymond out. I didn't expect this bad of a drubbing from Nikola Jokic on the Golden State Warriors front court. 38 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists. They constantly threw doubles at him. He would constantly find the cutters and make the smart basketball play that he routinely does. There were some instances where I really thought they threw some bad doubles at Nikola Jokic. You just got to, take your medicine and try to guard him one-on-one. He was missing a lot of point-blank shots tonight. His jumper wasn't necessarily falling for a good portion of this game. But once that, middle of the third quarter came around, fourth quarter came around, he heated up and just started taking it to the teeth of this Warriors defense, because nobody could guard him. Trayce Jackson-Davis couldn't guard him. He had a couple of good possessions, but honestly would attribute that more so to, Nikola Jokic being just a little bit cold to start this basketball game. TJD, he did solid effort, right? He had a couple offensive rebound putbacks. That's what you're going to get from TJD on the offensive end. He's a non-factor on that end. Golden State cannot play 5-out. They cannot play a super spaced floor with TJD out there. And to be honest with you, they also can't do it with Kevon Looney either. I do think Looney played a little bit better on TJD, and he cleaned the glass a little, not on TJD, on Jokic, and he cleaned the glass a little bit better as well, grabbing 11 boards out there. You can always count on effort from Kevon Looney, but he isn't always the most disciplined when it comes to staying on his feet, staying with his hands up, and defending in front of really, really good offensive players. He got in foul trouble tonight. Obviously had a couple of moving screens as well, which he's famous for. But guarding a guy like Nikola Jokic, guarding good bigs in the Western Conference like Anthony Davis, I think Golden State needs more reinforcements in this front court. I don't think you can go out there and play Trayce Jackson-Davis 25, 30 minutes when if a guy like Kevon Looney goes down and you don't have Draymond Green. These bigs in the Western Conference are going to feast on Golden State's front court. We've seen Ivica Zubac feast on Golden State's front court. I mean, you're going to have to find some sort of fix for what Golden State has going on down low right now, because if you were matched up, and I said this during our live stream, if you were matched up with Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets in the postseason, Denver would wipe Golden State. It's a total mismatch for them. what Jokic can do out of basically any position on the court and dissect the defense, and specifically his own primary defender, Golden State just doesn't have the reinforcements to get that done. And it's unfortunate, but that's just the reality that we live in. Golden State has never addressed the glaring issue they have in the front court, and that trend has continued tonight. And I think that the idea that Golden State needs a big has been further cemented against playing the NBA's best. That's what happens. And Golden State clearly doesn't have the reinforcements, especially when a guy like Draymond's out, and he's getting up there in age too. So how often is he going to be available? And we have no update on the timeline of his injury. Do we know that he's going to be out for a multiple game stretch here? Maybe. He said he's scared about the injury. I'm scared about the injury because behind him, there isn't enough depth in this Golden State Warriors front court. We'll talk about more about this game in just a moment. But guys, we were live for this game, and I need you guys to be there for the next one. We go live for some Warriors games this season. I'll give you guys a little bit of a better heads up next time we do go live. But if you're gonna come out, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We are past 70,000 subscribers, so thank you guys so much for that. We got past 70,100, and we're on the road to 71K. If you want free, informative, entertaining Golden State Warriors content all NBA season long, make sure you subscribe to the channel because we're bringing you that content like nobody else on YouTube. Shout out to you guys who have subscribed to the channel. Keep keeping us as your number one go-to spot for Golden State Warriors coverage all season long. We'll get on to talk about more about this game in just a bit, but first, I got to give a huge shout out to today's sponsor, Prize Picks. Prize Picks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports platform, my favorite daily fantasy sports platform. I was a customer before they were even a sponsor here at Chat Sports, but it's super easy to play. You can start today, too. All you guys got to do is pick a lineup of 2 to 6 player stat projections and just pick more or less on the stat projections. And if you guys want free money, I'll let you in on a little secret. If you use our promo code CLNS when you download the Prize Picks app and place your first $5 entry, you get $50 in your account for free. Sick deal that Prize Picks is hooking you up with. It's super easy to play. You can win up to 100 times your money with as little as 4 correct picks on Prize Picks. I had a Prize Picks out for the Warriors versus Nuggets game while I was sharing it with everybody on our live stream. I had Andrew Wiggins, unfortunately, more than 14.5 field goals attempted. We're moving on. I'll talk about that in just a moment. Stephen Curry did have more than 17.5 field goals attempted as well. TJD kept it less than 5.5 field goals attempted. And obviously, we know Nikola Jokic had a field day down low. You can take my picks. You can fade my picks. Just make sure you go and do it at Prize Picks. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Download the app and use that promo code CLNS to get $50 in your account for free when you place your first $5 entry. You don't even need to win to receive the $50. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks. Run your game. So the third dose, the triple dose of bad news for your Golden State Warriors, aside from the Draymond Green injury, aside from knowing that we don't really have many reinforcements behind Draymond Green, the Warriors do not have a second scorer. And you guys killed me in the comments section when I said this over the summer, but that's the harsh reality. Golden State just doesn't have it anymore. They lose Klay Thompson, and they just did not replace him. And I'm not saying Klay was necessarily the savior last year. He wasn't good. It was Klay's worst season of his career. But, man, on a night where Stephen Curry, shoots poorly for himself from the floor. He goes 8 of 23. He goes 4 of 15 from 3. It's a bad shooting night from Steph. He was dishing it out. He was finding open teammates. They were sending doubles at him. They were making his life hell defensively. Denver's a fantastic defensive team. But Steph was being a point guard. He was finding open teammates. Guys were cutting to the rim. They were getting easy buckets. But, he didn't have the best shooting night. You know who else didn't have the best shooting night? Everybody else on the roster. Golden State shot 11 of 35 from 3. They were so bad in this game. It made me look like they had never shot threes before. They were 12 of 38 in this game, shot 32% from deep range. And, Denver recognized that Golden State wasn't hitting shots, so they didn't really have to match them in the three-point department. That's why they capped out at 24 three-point attempts. And guess what? They made 11 of them. They shot 45% from 3. You need more reinforcements. And honestly, it's not just the reinforcements from deep range. You need guys to be able to go out there and create their own shot. And I cannot believe that I was told this, over and over again by Steve Kerr. And I was honestly on the track of this guy, okay, we can win some games. Maybe he's like an all-star again. But where was Andrew Wiggins in the second half of this ballgame? I mean, my goodness, he was aggressive there in the first half. Not necessarily getting up a super high volume, but he goes 3 of 7 in this ballgame. I don't think he touched the ball when he was he's played the second most minutes tonight. He played 30 minutes. Steph played 34. Wiggins played 30. And he didn't touch the ball for the last 18 to 20 minutes of this ballgame. Didn't get up a shot attempt. I can't take you seriously as a number 2 option when you're getting up 7 points against Denver. I can't do it. I know guys got hot elsewhere, and we'll talk about those guys. We'll shed a little more positivity on the Golden State Warriors in just a moment. But outside of Steph, this has to be your secondary scorer. You have to be able to go create. He is the second best creator on this team. And he shoots 2 of 4 from 3. Like, why aren't we shooting more? Like, what are we doing? Show a little bit of aggression, Andrew Wiggins. Like, I don't understand it. I haven't seen that the real jump for Andrew Wiggins that we needed him to take this season for Golden State to be a championship contender. I just haven't seen it. And it's unfortunate. I know other guys got rolling early. Jonathan Kuminga, shout out to you. 19-point performance. Awesome from Jonathan Kuminga. Wasn't forcing a ton. He was honestly creating a little bit for himself there in the mid-range early on in this ball game. But as it went on, he kind of disappeared. He faded a little bit. And that's kind of the issue with Jonathan Kuminga, right? He can have these spurts. He can have these sparks for Golden State where he puts up 10 consecutive points for the Dubs. But over a 48-minute stretch, is Jonathan Kuminga being the consistent enough scorer that you need him to be? But at the end of the day, he's not a creator, right? Like his bread and butter is in transition, which he did a great job of tonight. It's cutting to the basket and finding yourself wide open for easy dunks. Like he did that tonight. It's taking your defender off the dribble, downhill, putting the shoulder in, and getting an easy 2 at the rim. Like that's where he thrives. But 3-point range, 1 of 2. Thankfully, he didn't shoot more. I honestly don't like when Jonathan Kuminga shoots threes. It was a total fabrication that he improved in that regard this year. So, good start for Kuminga in this game, but I need to see it consistently over 48 minutes. And I also need to see it over a long stretch of games because he has been putrid over this losing streak so far. He turned the corner a little bit tonight. I got to see more, and hopefully it results in some wins for Golden State. Brandon Podziemski, he had a really solid night as well. 13 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. He started, him and Kuminga in that first quarter were the offense for Golden State. They were getting it going big time. They were efficient. They were hitting in the mid-range. They run a little bit of pick and roll very well. Podziemski was feeding Kuminga down low. They had good chemistry, but as the game goes on, I think Podziemski has 7 in the first quarter and Kuminga has 9. They didn't do much the rest of the game, and they weren't those guys that were super effective for Golden State. You know who did step up, though, there in the second half, who kind of took over for him? Shout out to Moses Moody, man. Finally, welcome to the Bay Area, Moses Moody. You've only been here for 4 years. You get the extension, haven't done anything with it. Finally, you step up a little bit. Hits 4 of 10. I know it's not great efficiencies, but he's being aggressive. He's taking shots, and a couple of the makes that he had were big down the stretch. They gave Golden State a little bit of a cushion there with the lead. But, when you can't score down the stretch, I think the Warriors scored 6 points in the last 6 minutes of the game. Held without a field goal for the last 3 minutes of ball game. You just need better. I hate to be disrespectful if that's what it is, but you just need to be better. You can't rely on 24 points from Moses Moody and Gary Payton when those guys aren't hitting those shots in the final 5 minutes of the game. It's great to get them in the first 43 minutes, man, but you didn't build yourself a big enough lead, clearly, because Denver goes out and goes on a 21-6 run to close this game. And that has to do with not having a secondary scorer. Shout out to Gary Payton II. He was available. He was cutting to the rim. He hit a big-time 3 in the corner. He had another opportunity to take a big-time 3 and didn't take it. I honestly wish he did. But you just can't. There's levels to this, guys. There really is. And you just can't have it. And honestly, I haven't talked about it yet because I'm kind of leaving him for last. But biggest disappointment since I have last done a live stream, which was Klay Thompson's game, actually, or the Celtics game. I don't remember which one it was. I believe Klay's return game to the Chase Center against the Mavs in the NBA Cup was the last game we did on live stream. And Buddy Hield hasn't been good since that game. Buddy Hield hasn't been good since the first 10 games of the season, man. Can't find a shot. 2 for 6 from 3 tonight. 2 for 8 from the field as a whole. Can't defend. I've been told about Buddy Hield and how he goes through these spells during the season where he can't hit a shot, but then, find him for a next 10-game stretch, and he's as hot as can be, one of the best shooters in the world, and he is, but consistency is key, and the Golden State just doesn't have enough reliability. That's the big takeaway here. Golden State doesn't have anyone that is reliable enough to take over when a guy like Stephen Curry is not playing the game that he needs to be playing for this Golden State team to win. I've been saying it all year long. Stephen Curry is the engine that makes this Golden State team go. The minutes without Stephen Curry on the floor tonight were putrid. They were bad. And there's no excuse, man. At the end of the day, this team goes as Steph goes because they didn't make enough improvements around him to give him, the leeway that he needs to have these kind of off nights. And I wouldn't even call it an off night. He had 24 and 11 assists. What more is he supposed to do? He was hitting big-time shots. Or he really wasn't hitting big-time shots down the stretch. But, like, he got hot. He that second quarter, like, the third quarter was a mess for him. But it can't be on it. Like, that can't be all on his shoulders. You have to have more reliability. And consistently enough, Golden State just doesn't have it, man. They just don't have it. So, with that being said, I got to give you guys one more question before we hop on out of here. What's your number one takeaway from this game? I know we've given you guys a triple dose of bad news today. Draymond Green injury. Second dose. Nobody behind Draymond Green to defend the best bigs in this conference that you're going to need to beat to make an NBA Finals. And the third dose is that Golden State is yet to find a secondary scorer that they can rely upon. Game after game after game. Wiggins had a nice stretch, but he's been quiet over these past couple of games, and it's been most apparent tonight. He's got 7 shots up. I don't even know if he took one in the second half. It was putrid. What is your number one takeaway from tonight's game? Let me know down in the comment section. I'm trying to hear what Dub Nation has to think. Blow off some steam down in the comments. And as always, like I said before, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. YouTube.com/WarriorsTV. Covering your Golden State Warriors like nobody else on YouTube every single day of the NBA season and into the offseason. 365 days a year coverage, informative, entertainment. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you guys in the next one. Let's go, Tufs.